Every boy loves dinosaurs, and every kid in the 90s went crazy for Jurassic Park. Released in 1993, directed by Steven Spielberg and adapted from Michael Crichton's novel, this movie did not just dominate the box office. It changed the way Hollywood made blockbusters and made an entire generation believe a T-Rex could really step out of the rain. But after leaving that park, the cast of Jurassic Park went places nobody could have predicted. One person became Newman in Seinfeld, one lost both a daughter and a granddaughter in a tsunami disaster, and one got caught up in a serious conviction so severe that his name was never seen the same way again. So where are the faces who once made us lose our minds over that adventure now? Come back to Jurassic Park with me. But this time, do not look at the T-Rex, look at the cast, because 33 years later, their real lives are the biggest shock. Number 1, Sam Neill as Dr. Alan Grant. Every time I rewatch Jurassic Park, I still think the dinosaurs sold the tickets, but Sam Neill was the heart of the movie. Born in 1947 with the birth name Nigel John Dermott. Neill, he was 46 years old when Jurassic Park came out in 1993. This year he is 79. In the movie, he plays Dr. Alan Grant, the difficult paleontologist who does not like kids but ends up protecting Lex and Tim when the park falls apart. Before that, Sam Neill already had an impressive career, but not the kind of fame where everyone who walked into a supermarket in America would recognize him. He had drawn attention with Sleeping Dogs, My Brilliant Career Possession, A Cry in the Dark, Dead Calm, and The Hunt for Red that October. Jurassic Park did not create Sam Neill, but it put him into popular memory. That same year, the piano also reminded people that Neill did not only belong to summer blockbusters, but could stand firmly in serious art films too. After Jurassic Park, Sam Neill was not swallowed by one role. He returned in Jurassic Park 3 and Jurassic World Dominion, while continuing to work in movies, television, New Zealand films, and Hollywood films. Event Horizon, Peaky Blinders, Hunt for the Wilder People. The 12, all of them show that his career is much longer than Alan Grant's hat. In 2022, while promoting Jurassic World Dominion, Sam Neill discovered swollen glands in his neck. After that, he was diagnosed with angioimmunoblastic T-cell lymphoma, a rare blood cancer in the non-Hodgkin lymphoma group. He made the illness public in his memoir, Did I Ever Tell You This?, published in 2023. At first, chemotherapy worked, then it stopped working. Neill once said he felt like he was coming to the end. After chemotherapy was no longer enough, Sam Neill moved to CAR T-cell therapy, an immunotherapy that uses the patient's own T-cells to fight cancer. On April 29, 2026, he announced that he had no signs of cancer after this clinical trial. He also called for broader access to therapies like this for blood cancer patients in Australia and New Zealand. His private life also had complicated chapters. He has a son with actress Lisa Harrow. In 1989, he married makeup artist Noriko Watanabe, had a daughter with her, adopted her daughter from a previous relationship, then separated in 2017. In 1994, he also reunited with a son from his youth, who had been placed for adoption. This year, Sam Neill is 79. He has announced that he is cancer-free, still wants to keep making movies, and in 2026, he even reunited with Laura Dern and Jeff Goldblum in a Super Bowl commercial with a Jurassic Park spirit. Alan Grant survived Isla Nublar. Sam Neill survived a much more real fight. And at 79, just seeing him still standing there, still wanting to make movies, is enough to make old viewers feel a little choked up. Number 2, Laura Dern as Dr. Ellie Sattler. In 1993, a lot of men went to the theater for dinosaurs. More than a few walked out, remembering only Laura Dern. Born in 1967, Laura Dern was only 26 years old when Jurassic Park came out. This year, she is 59. Her father is Bruce Dern and her mother is Diane Ladd, both real actors from a tougher era of American film than the one we have now. Her parents divorced when she was little, and Laura grew up mostly with her mother. Before Jurassic Park, she had Mask Blue Velvet Wild at heart and an Oscar nomination for Rambling Rose. In the movie, Laura plays Dr. Ellie Sattler, a smart, sharp paleobotanist. Jurassic Park put her into popular memory, but the road after that was not easy at all. In 1997, Laura appeared in the famous Coming Out episode of Ellen. Today, that sounds normal. Back then, it was a cultural bomb. She once needed security. The set received bomb threats and work pretty much stalled for a while. She did not create a scandal. She simply stood beside a moment America was not calm enough to accept yet. Then came the heartbreak with Billy Bob Thornton. Laura once said she left home to shoot a movie, and when she came back, her boyfriend had married someone else. That person was Angelina Jolie. After that, she married musician Ben Harper. In 2005, had 2 children, then went through divorce again. Harper filed in 2010. They tried to reconcile for a while, but everything was finalized in 2013. Years later, she won an Oscar for Marriage Story, playing a divorce lawyer. Her most recent loss was her mother. Diane Ladd was diagnosed with idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis in 2018 and was once told she had only a few months left to live. Laura cared for her mother, walked with her, talked with her, then turned those conversations into "Honey, Baby Mine." In 2025, Diane Ladd passed away at 89 beside her daughter. Laura Dern won an Emmy for Big Little Lies, won an Oscar for Marriage Story, returned with Jurassic World Dominion, and is still working powerfully at 59. Number 3, Jeff Goldblum as Dr. Ian Malcolm. Jeff Goldblum was born in 1952 and was 41 years old when Jurassic Park came out in 1993. This year, he is 74. Before this movie, Goldblum had already made a name for himself with The Big Chill, The Fly, and Deep Cover. He was not a new actor, but Ian Malcolm turned his eccentric style into something mainstream audiences recognized immediately. Black glasses, black shirt, hesitant voice, sarcastic smile, and the line, "Life finds a way." After Jurassic Park, he returned as Ian Malcolm in The Lost World, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and Jurassic World Dominion. In 1996, Independence Day put him into another huge disaster, this time with Aliens. After that, he kept going with Wes Anderson, Thor Ragnarok: The World. According to Jeff Goldblum, his jazz band, Wicked and Wicked for Good. Behind that playful eccentricity is a very early loss. When Jeff was 19, his brother Rick died at 23 from kidney failure after getting sick during a trip to Morocco. Rick was someone Jeff admired, and also the person who influenced his love of jazz. Goldblum was married to Patricia Gall from 1980 to 1985, then to Gina Davis from 1987 to 1990. In 2014, he married Emily Livingston, a former Canadian Olympic rhythmic gymnast. He had his son Charlie in 2015 when he was 62 and River in 2017 when he was 64. In 2024, he said his children would have to become independent later and not live off their father's wealth. In 2009, the internet once spread a fake rumor that Goldblum had died after falling off a cliff in New Zealand, making his mother call him in a panic. In 2024, Chaos, the Netflix series where he played Zeus, was canceled after 1 season. Even Jeff Goldblum cannot escape the coldness of streaming-era Hollywood. This year, Jeff Goldblum is 74. He is still acting, playing jazz, being a father, appearing regularly in public, and in 2026, he even reunited with Sam Neill and Laura Dern in a Super Bowl commercial with a Jurassic Park flavor. Number 4, Richard Attenborough as John Hammond. John Hammond built a park to amaze children. Richard Attenborough in real life lost some of the people he loved most in a disaster no one could stop. In the movie, Attenborough plays John Hammond, the founder of Jurassic Park, the grandfather of Lex and Tim, and the owner of the line spared no expense. Born in 1923 in Cambridge, England, he was already 70 years old when Jurassic Park came out in 1993. He did not walk into the movie like an ordinary supporting actor. Before that, he had already been a major name in British cinema with Brighton Rock, The Great Escape, The Sand Pebbles Dr. Dolittle, and 10 Rillington Place. Then he moved strongly into directing and producing and made Gandhi, the film that brought him the Oscars for Best Picture and Best Director. After Jurassic Park, he returned in The Lost World in 1997. In 1994, he also played Kris Kringle in Miracle on 34th Street. In real life, he married actress Sheila Sim in 1945. They had 3 children, Michael, Jane, and Charlotte, and the marriage lasted 69 years until he passed away. On December 26, 2004, his family was hit by tragedy in the Indian Ocean tsunami disaster in Khao Lak, Thailand. His daughter Jane Holland, his granddaughter Lucy, and Jane's mother-in-law Audrey Holland were killed. Another granddaughter, Alice, was badly injured in the leg. Attenborough later called that Boxing Day the worst day of his life. In 2008, his health declined badly. He had heart problems, needed a pacemaker, then fell after a stroke. From then on, he used a wheelchair and stopped making films. In 2012, because he needed full-time care, he and Sheila had to leave Old Friars, the house in Richmond they had been tied to for decades, and moved into Denville Hall. Richard Attenborough passed away at Denville Hall in 2014, just 5 days before his 91st birthday. He lived to be 90. His wish was for his ashes to be placed beside his daughter Jane and granddaughter Lucy. John Hammond left us the gates of Jurassic Park. Richard Attenborough left a much larger life in film Oscars fame, a marriage of nearly 7 decades, and a final chapter that reminds us no one is rich enough, famous enough, or loved enough to avoid loss. Number 5. Joseph Mazzello as Tim Murphy. Tim Murphy was born in 1983 in Rhinebeck, New York, and Joseph was only 10 years old when Jurassic Park came out in 1993. This year he is 43. Before becoming John Hammond's grandson, this boy already had presumed innocent radio flyer and Jersey Girl. He was not completely a new face, but Jurassic Park was the movie that made millions of viewers remember him. What is interesting is that Steven Spielberg had noticed Joseph before. He had auditioned for Hook when he was only 7, but he was too young for that role. Spielberg still remembered him, then brought him into Jurassic Park. In the novel, Tim was originally the older brother and Lex was younger, but the movie switched that so Joseph could play the younger brother. In the movie, Tim Murphy is a supporting role, but not small at all in the audience's memory. He is attacked by the T-Rex in the car, trapped in a tree, electrocuted at the fence, then hides from raptors in the kitchen. After Jurassic Park, Joseph acted in Shadowlands: The River Wild. The Cure 3 Wishes then made a brief appearance in The Lost World. But he did not throw himself into the noisy child star machine. He stepped back for a while, turned down a lot of work while he was in high school, then went to the USC School of Cinematic Arts with a recommendation letter from Spielberg. What deserves respect is that when he returned to Spielberg with The Pacific, Joseph still had to audition 5 times. Nobody handed the profession for free to the boy who had once been Tim. After that, he had The Social Network, Bohemian Rhapsody, Impeachment, American Crime Story, and also wrote and directed Undrafted, inspired by the story of his brother John not being selected in the MLB draft. Joseph Mazzello did not have a loud downfall for the press to exploit, and that is exactly what makes it valuable. Little Tim survived Jurassic Park, and the man Joseph survived childhood fame without letting it swallow the rest of his life. Number 6. Ariana Richards as Lex Murphy. Do you remember Lex Murphy? She was John Hammond's granddaughter, Tim's sister, and an important part of the survival storyline. That role was played by Ariana Richards. Born in 1979 in Healdsburg, California, Ariana was only 14 years old when Jurassic Park came out. This year she is 47. Before becoming Lex Murphy, she already had acting experience with The Golden Girls, Prancer Tremors, Spaced Invaders, and Timescape. She was not a child face thrown into a blockbuster from zero, but Jurassic Park was the movie that nailed her image into the audience's memory. After Jurassic Park, Ariana acted in Angus Appeared in Boy Meets World, was featured in Ben Folds 5's Brick Video, returned briefly in The Lost World, then continued with Tremors 3. But she did not chase Hollywood all the way. She gradually shifted toward painting, studied fine art and drama at Skidmore College, continued studying at Art Center College of Design, then became a portrait and landscape painter. Her biggest difficulty was not scandal. It was the shadow of a movie scene that was too famous. After Jurassic Park, many interviews still wanted her to repeat the Scream or the Jell-O scene. Ariana chose a more private life. She lives in Oregon, married Mark Bolton in 2013, has 1 child, and keeps a fairly quiet private life. And that is the happy life that few people who have stepped into Hollywood ever get. Number 7. Wayne Knight as Dennis Nedry. Some supporting faces from the 90s are even harder to forget than the leading men, and Wayne Knight is one of them. Born in 1955 in New York, Wayne Knight was 38 years old when Jurassic Park came out in 1993. This year, he is 71. Before becoming Dennis Nedry, he had Dirty Dancing, Born on the 4th of July, JFK, and Basic Instinct. Steven Spielberg noticed him after Basic Instinct, then cast him as the most annoying programmer on Isla Nublar. At that same time, Wayne Knight was also Newman on Seinfeld from 1992 to 1998. That is the interesting career trap. Some actors spend their whole lives looking for one role audiences will remember. Wayne Knight had two roles that were too strong in the same decade. The hardest part for Wayne Knight was his appearance. Around the time of Jurassic Park, he once weighed about 327 pounds. He was boxed in as the fat guy, the kind of role Hollywood uses very quickly when it needs a character who is funny, irritating, or unlikable. Later, he lost about 110 pounds from his heaviest weight. For a normal person, that is good news. For an actor who had been tied by the industry to one look for too long, it made casting more complicated. Knight himself once said that changing his appearance hurt his career because people no longer knew which old box to put him in. In 2014, the internet even spread a rumor that he had died in a car accident near the New York and Pennsylvania border. He had to speak up himself and say he was still alive, and even joked that he did not realize he had to die to start trending. Off-screen, his life is much quieter than the characters he plays. He married Paula Sutor in 1996, divorced in 2003, then married Claire de Chanoux in 2006, and had a son, Liam. There are no major credible legal scandals attached to him. After Jurassic Park, Wayne Knight kept working steadily to die for Space Jam Rat Race, more than 100 episodes of Third Rock from the Sun, then voice work in Toy Story 2, Tarzan Shaolin Showdown, and Cat Scratch. Number 8. Samuel L. Jackson as Ray Arnold. Before Samuel L. Jackson became the man with a voice nobody could mistake, he nearly destroyed himself with alcohol and drugs. Born in 1948 in Washington, D.C., Jackson grew up in Chattanooga, Tennessee. When Jurassic Park came out in 1993, he was 45 years old. This year, he is 78. In the movie, he plays Ray Arnold, the park's chief systems engineer. Ray only has a few scenes, but the line, "Hold on to your butts," has lived longer than many roles with much more screen time. Before Jurassic Park, Jackson had already been working for many years. He studied at Morehouse College, did theater, then appeared in Spike Lee films like School Days, Do the Right Thing, and Mo Better Blues. But his life before becoming an icon was not clean or easy. His father was absent for most of his life and later died from alcoholism. Jackson once said he only met his father 2 times. He grew up with his mother, maternal grandparents, and extended family. After Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in 1968, Jackson served as an usher at King's funeral in Atlanta. 1 year later, he took part in student activism at Morehouse, holding members of the Board of Trustees to demand reform. He was suspended for 2 years, then came back and graduated in drama in 1972. Jackson was once addicted to alcohol and drugs, including crack. He still went to work, still knew his lines, still finished the job, but his private life was falling apart badly. His wife, LaTanya Richardson, who has been married to him since 1980, and their daughter Zoe saw that period from the closest distance. In 1991, after they found him in terrible shape at home, Jackson went into rehab. Right after rehab, he played Gator in Jungle Fever, a crack addict. That role brought him a Supporting Acting Award at Cannes and opened a major turning point. Then in 1993, he appeared in Jurassic Park. Ray Arnold is a small role, dies off screen, and Ellie only finds his arm in the power shed. But watching it today, we are seeing Samuel L. Jackson right before the explosion. 1 year later, Pulp Fiction came out. Jules Winfield brought him an Oscar nomination for supporting actor, and from there, Hollywood changed the way it looked at him. Die Hard, With a Vengeance, A Time to Kill Jackie Brown Shaft. Star Wars, Marvel, Tarantino, The Incredibles all followed one after another and turned him into a living brand. In 2022, he received an honorary Oscar. This year, he is 78, still working, still married to LaTanya, and still one of the most recognizable actors in the world. Number 9, Bob Peck as Robert Muldoon. With just 2 words, clever girl. Bob Peck earned a permanent place in Jurassic Park memory. Born in 1945 in Leeds, England, Bob Peck was 48 years old when Jurassic Park came out in 1993. He passed away in 1999 when he was only 53. To American audiences, he may be the raptor hunter in khaki shorts holding a gun saying little and looking like a man who already knew this park would become a disaster. But in England, Peck was not some unknown supporting face. Before Jurassic Park, he was a stage actor with real weight. He had worked with the Royal Shakespeare Company, had been nominated for Olivier Awards multiple times, and was respected by major colleagues. Ian McKellen once said Bob Peck was the actor he learned the most from. On British television, Peck had a major breakthrough with Edge of Darkness in 1985. The role of Ronald Craven, a policeman looking for the truth after his daughter's death, brought him the BAFTA TV Award for Best Actor. After the movie, Peck kept working in The Young Indiana Jones Chronicles: Hard Times, surviving Picasso, Smilla's Sense of Snow, Fairy Tale, A True Story, The Opium War, and The Scold's Bridal. His final role was voicing Joseph of Arimathea in The Miracle Maker, released after his death and dedicated to him. In real life, Bob Peck married actress Jill Baker in 1982. They had 3 children. In 1994, just 1 year after Jurassic Park, he was diagnosed with cancer. He went through chemotherapy and radiation therapy, then passed away at home in London on April 4th, 1999. Number 10. Martin Ferrero as Donald Gennaro. If you watched Jurassic Park back in the 90s, you might forget the name Donald Gennaro, but you definitely do not forget how he died. Martin Ferrero was born in 1947 in Brockport, New York. When Jurassic Park came out in 1993, he was 46 years old. This year he is 79. Before being pulled off a toilet by a T-Rex, Ferrero had already been a steady supporting actor. He did theater, joined California Actors Theater in 1975, moved to Los Angeles in 1979, then appeared in MASH Mork and Mindy Happy Days, Cheers Hill Street Blues LA Law, and The X-Files. To TV audiences of the 80s, he was also Izzy Moreno in Miami Vice. After the movie, he still appeared in Get Shorty Heat, Gods and Monsters, The Tailor of Panama Nash Bridges, and The Practice. But for the general public, no role ever escaped the shadow of Toilet Guy. He has no confirmed major scandal, and he does not live off noise. His story is the strange price of one movie scene that became too famous. In 2011, Ferrero returned as Gennaro in a College Humor parody. In 2017, Jimmy Kimmel even invited him to receive a joking Lifetime Achievement Award for dying on a toilet. Ferrero accepted it with exactly the right self-mocking spirit. This year, Martin Ferrero is 79 and fairly private, but just hearing a T-Rex roar beside a wooden bathroom makes our whole generation remember that terrified face right away. Some actors are remembered for great victories. Ferrero is remembered for a humiliating funny failure that is strangely perfect. Number 11, B.D. Wong as Dr. Henry Wu. In 1993, Dr. Henry Wu only stood in the lab for a few minutes. 3 decades later, it turns out he is one of the most important people in Jurassic Park. B.D. Wong's birth name is Bradley Darrell Wong, born in 1960 in San Francisco. When Jurassic Park came out, he was 33 years old. This year, he is 66. Before playing the park's geneticist, Wong was already a very strong stage actor. In 1988, he won a Tony for M. Butterfly, and that role also brought him several other major awards. In other words, this was not some unknown supporting face placed in a laboratory. After the movie, Wong built a very steady career. Television audiences remember him as Dr. George Huang in Law and Order, SVU Father Ray Mukata in Oz, the voice of Captain Li Shang in Mulan, and White Rose in Mr. Robot, a role that brought him an Emmy nomination. He also returned to the franchise in Jurassic World in 2015, when Henry Wu was no longer just the man explaining the science, but became a character with clearer responsibility in the new disasters. Wong's private life has a very painful chapter. In 2000, he and his partner at the time, Richie Jackson, had twin sons through a surrogate. The babies were born premature. One baby, Boaz Dov, died not long after birth. The other baby, Jackson Fu, had to stay in the NICU for 3 months. Wong wrote the memoir following Fu about that experience of fatherhood. He and Richie split in 2004 after 16 years together. In 2018, Wong married Richard Schnorr. This year, B.D. Wong is 66 and still working steadily. Henry Wu was once a small role in the lab, but Wong's real life has enough theater awards loss, fatherhood mistakes, and endurance to feel much heavier than his brief screen time in 1993. Number 12, Cameron Thor as Lewis Dodgson. As Cameron Thor, full name Gregory. Cameron Thor was born in 1960 in Los Angeles. When Jurassic Park came out in 1993, he was 33 years old. This year, he is 66. In the movie, he plays Lewis Dodgson, the Biosyn man from InGen's rival company. Before and after Jurassic Park, Thor had a number of credits such as Hook Clear and Present Danger Mad About You, Star Trek The Next Generation Sequest 2032, and Windtalkers. Later, he also worked as an acting coach, but his career did not go as far as some people may have once expected. In 2015, Cameron Thor was convicted of lewd conduct with a minor in a case involving a 13-year-old girl. In 2016, he was sentenced to 6 years in prison and required to register as a sex offender. Entertainment Weekly later wrote that he served 4 years and was released in 2019. This is not the kind of Hollywood scandal to tell for fun. This was a conviction with a real victim. Thor has been married to Alice Carter since 2013 and has 2 children, including London Thor. Now at 66, he is no longer a prominent public face in Hollywood. Number 13, Gerald R. Molen as Dr. Jerry Harding. Gerald R. Molen only appears beside the Triceratops for a few seconds, but behind the camera, he was one of the people who helped make Jurassic Park real. Born in 1935 in Great Falls, Montana, Molen was 58 years old when Jurassic Park came out in 1993. This year, he is 91. In the movie, he plays Dr. Jerry Harding, the veterinarian taking care of the sick Triceratops. But Molen was not a normal supporting actor. He was a producer. Before that, he had cameoed as a doctor in Rain Man and Days of Thunder, then came Jurassic Park. Behind the screen, he worked with Steven Spielberg and Amblin on many major projects from Hook, Jurassic Park, The Lost World, Schindler's List, Twister, Minority Report, to The Meg. 1993 was a gigantic year for Molen. On one side was Jurassic Park, the movie that made the whole world believe dinosaurs could come back to life on screen. On the other side was Schindler's List, the movie that brought the Oscar for Best Picture to Steven Spielberg, Gerald R. Molen, and Branko Lustig. Very few people have a professional year that heavy. After Schindler's List, he also became connected to the work of preserving Holocaust memory. In 1999, Molen conducted a 10,000 interview for the USC Law Foundation with Branko Lustig, a Holocaust survivor and also the co-producer of Schindler's List. Later, Molen became a controversial conservative voice in Hollywood, producing political documentaries like 2016 Obama's America and Hillary's America. The latter was heavily criticized, won the Razzie for Worst Picture, but was also the highest-grossing documentary of 2016. Gerald R. Molen is not the name audiences immediately remember when they mention Jurassic Park. But maybe that is exactly why he fits so well as the one to close this list. After all the faces, losses, scandals, and returns, he reminds us that a classic movie is not only made by the people standing in front of the camera. Sometimes the quiet person behind it is the one who keeps the whole dream running. I will never forget the feeling of walking out of the theater for the first time after seeing Jurassic Park. That movie was almost perfect. Cinematography, editing, visuals, music, all of it made me believe the gates of Isla Nublar had really opened. And I still remember going home, looking at my bedroom door and wondering whether a raptor could turn the doorknob. When we were young, we remembered the T-Rex, the raptors, the cup of water shaking in the car. But 33 years later, what makes us choke up is the people in that movie. Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, Richard Attenborough, Bob Peck, Samuel L. Jackson, and even the faces who not only appeared for a few minutes, each of them carrying a very different story. Which actor on this list surprised you the most after 33 years, and which scene scared you the most back then? If you like the stories behind classic movies, subscribe to Weird Movie Secrets. See you in the next video.